Welcome back to Giants Latest. We are one day away from the draft. I'm so excited. Hit that subscribe button because we're talking all things draft for the next week at least. So let's get into this because we've talked a little bit about the top 30 visits, but something that I saw that was really interesting is that in the last three drafts that Joe Schoen has had since he's been the Giants general manager, he has drafted three plus players who have come in for top 30 visits. So I think this is something that we really need to watch for over the next couple days while the draft takes place, because the Giants obviously had their top 30 visits. They had a lot of quarterbacks, a lot of running backs, they had defensive linemen, they had offensive linemen. So they have brought in players from all different positions. So I think this is going to be really important to watch over the next couple days. And I want to go through the players from each of these drafts that Joe Schoen has brought in. So from 2022, the three players that were drafted that came in for top 30 visits were Kayvon Thibodeau, Evan Neal, and Cordell Flott. In 2023, there were four players from top 30 visits that he drafted: Tay Banks, John Michael Schmitz, Jalen Hyatt, and Trey Hawkins III. And then last in 2024, he brought in Malik Neighbors, Theo Johnson, and Andrew Phillips. So all three players were brought in for top 30 visits and then drafted by the Giants. So very interesting. Let's real quick go through the players, all of them that have come in for top 30 visits this year. And then maybe we can make some predictions on who we think the Giants will be bringing in the draft. So let's start off with quarterbacks. We obviously know Shedeur Sanders, Jalen Milroe, Tyler Shuck, and Kyle McCord. Next up for running backs, Omarion Hampton, Quinshawn Judkins, Caleb Johnson, Cam Scatabo, and Ollie Gordon II. Defensive tackles include Darius Alexander, Alfred Collins, and Joshua Farmer. And then the other players are a mix. So edge Abdul Carter, which we know they met with 5 separate times. Offensive lineman Donovan Jackson, offensive lineman Marcus Embo, tight end Elijah Arroyo, wide receiver Savion Williams, cornerback / wide receiver Travis Hunter, safety Andrew Makuba, linebacker Colin Oliver, defensive back Jalen Reed, and cornerback Corey Black. So those are all the names to watch for the Giants. Now, I'm going to make my prediction right now that based on these top 30 visits, this is who I think the Giants are going to draft, maybe potentially with a trade or if they're available at the Giants draft pick. So I think they're going Abdul Carter at 3, and then outside of that, I think they will go Jalen Milroe, Darius Alexander, Donovan Jackson, and Caleb Johnson. Those are going to be my 4 picks for who I think the Giants will draft based on the top 30 visits. So stay tuned because that is going to be coming very soon. Let's continue to talk about the draft, because something we also have talked about too is whether or not the Giants are going to make a trade on draft night. And there's been a lot of speculation that the Giants are going to trade Kayvon Thibodeau on draft night. Now, I personally don't think that's going to be the case. I do think there is a potential for Kayvon to be traded. I don't think it's happening on draft night. But since Joe Schoen has been with the Giants, he has basically made at least one trade every year. He's traded away Kadarius Toney. He has traded for Darren Waller. He has traded for Brian Burns. In the draft, he has traded up for Tay Banks. He has traded up for Jalen Hyatt. And I believe that he made a move for John Michael Schmitz. But I'm not 100% sure on that. I don't exactly remember. But either way, that's been a lot of trades in the few years that Joe Schoen has been here. So I think we can expect a trade at some point in this draft. Like I said, I don't think it's coming from the 3rd spot, but I do think it could be coming from later on. And I absolutely expect Joe to be moving at some point during the draft. And I think it's interesting that even the Bears GM, Ryan Poles, said that he thinks there's going to be a lot of movement in this draft, and he's not really sure what's going to happen, but he is excited about it. So I think it's going to be an exciting draft, and I think there's going to be a lot to discuss. So speaking of one of the reasons why I think it's also going to be an exciting draft is that if you don't know who Jeremy Shocki is, let's talk about him. He was the former Giants tight end, and he played with the Giants from 2002 to 2007. So obviously he won 2 Super Bowls. He was a first team All Pro, 4-time Pro Bowler, Pro Football Writers of America All Rookie Team. He was the NFL Alumni Tight End of the Year in 2005 with the Giants, and then has a lot of other accolades throughout his college career where he played University of Miami. Wouldn't it be amazing if Jeremy Shocki, who is announcing the Giants' third overall pick in Green Bay on draft night, I know this is probably never going to happen, but wouldn't it be amazing if he got to announce another Hurricanes player, Cam Ward, to the Giants at 3? Would love it. Wishful thinking. But I love Jeremy Shocki, great Giant. He came to the Legends event last year. He's still been around the building and things like that. So I love that he's getting involved and he is making the Giants pick this year. And I hope for all of our sake that it's Abdul Carter. And if it's not Abdul Carter, then maybe, just maybe, it'll be Cam Ward. Like I said, wishful thinking, but you never know. Let's talk about some current and new Giants players because there's been some number shuffling around the crew. So let's start with current Giants players who got new numbers. So Deonte Banks is moving from 3 to 2 because new Giant Russell Wilson wanted number 3. And Tay Banks has changed his number almost every year since he's been here. First, what's his name? He was 25 first, I think, and then he switched with Sterling Shepard because Shepard had 87, but then he wanted 3, and then when Shep left, Banks took 3 back, and now that Russell Wilson is here, he's taking it back from Banks. So honestly, kind of feel like Banks, maybe he's way more chill than I think he is, that he's just cool with giving up his number, or he's making a lot of money from this. Either way, good for him for being the young guy, taking one for the team, and switching over numbers. Either way, very interesting. So he is going from 3 to 2. This was surprising to me that Darius Slayton is moving from 86 to 18 because all 5 years that he's been with the Giants, he was repping number 86. Isaiah Hodgins was wearing 18 for a couple of those years. And now that Isaiah Hodgins is gone, Darius Slayton is taking over number 18. So it will be interesting to see him out there with number 18, something we'll have to get used to. Next up is Tyler Nubin, who is going from number 31 to 27 with Jason Pinnock, who was wearing 27, off the team. He now has taken it over. And now we have a bunch of new players, free agents that were added to the team. These are their former team and number. So Russell Wilson, obviously, from the Steelers is now taking on number 3. Safety Javon Holland from the Dolphins is taking over number 8. Quarterback Jameis Winston from the Browns is taking number 19. Cornerback Paulson Adebo from the Saints is taking number 21. Cornerback Nick Jones from the Chiefs is taking on 31, Tyler Nubin's old number. Linebacker Demetrius Flanagan Foles is from the Niners is taking number 44. Linebacker Chris Board from the Ravens is taking 49. Outside linebacker Victor Dimukeje from the Cardinals is taking 52. Outside offensive lineman James Hudson III from the Browns is taking 55. Defensive lineman Chauncey Golston from the Cowboys is taking 57. Offensive lineman Stone Forsythe from the Seahawks is taking 70. Wide receiver Montrell Washington from the Chiefs is taking 80. Wide receiver Little Jordan Humphrey from the Broncos is taking 81. And he's taken with 81. Wide receiver Zach Pascal from the Cardinals is taking 83. Defensive lineman Jeremiah Ledbetter from the Jags is taking 96. And defensive lineman Roy Robertson Harris from the Seahawks is taking number 99. So a lot of numbers shuffling around. This is going to continue because when training camp comes around, we're going to have guys on offense and defense who are wearing the same number, and you're going to be like very thrown off when you see the same number on different sides of the ball and you're like, who is who? Who are these people wearing different numbers? It doesn't really matter what the number is. Some of them, like I said, because of training camp and things like that, are going to change by the time the season actually starts and preseason and everything is behind us. So that's it for today's episode. Stay tuned because tomorrow is draft day. I'm so excited making final predictions for the draft. And then on Friday, obviously, we're going to talk about who the Giants picked. So a lot of exciting stuff this week. It's officially draft week and I am just absolutely thrilled about it. And I hope you guys are too.